Namah Parvati Pataye Govindanam Sankirtanam.
Namaste everyone. Today in this we are going to see what Sukacharya is going to narrate to King Parikshit after Vamana Avataram. Before starting that, we'll start with an invocation. Om Shuklam Bhardaram Vishnam Shashivarnam Chadurbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha, Guruve Sarva Lokanam, Vishije Bhavaroginam, Nadihe Sarva Vidyanam, Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. தென்னாடுடைய பெரியவா போற்றி எந்நாட்டவர்க்கும் இறைவா போற்றி சர்வஜா சர்வவியாபி பெரியவா சரணம் மாயப்பிறப்பருக்கும் மகா பெரியவா அடி போற்றி. ஓம் ஜன்மாத்யஸ்ய யதோ அன்வயாதிதரதஸ்சார்த்தேஷு அபிஜ்ஞः ஸ்வராட்டம் தேனே பிரம்ம ஹிருதாய ஆதிகவயே முஹ்யந்தி யத் சூரயः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तगुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि. मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्. So we are seeing Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavatam. In the last session, we have seen about how Lord Vishnu took Vamana Avataram. That's the most important avataram, Vamana Avataram. So after this Vamana Avataram, Sukacharya wanted to describe Ramayanam. He wanted to narrate Ramayanam to Maharaja Parikshit. But after this Vamana Avataram, he started telling Matsya Avatara. Matsya Avataram, that is Bhagavan, that is Swami took Matsya Avataram to protect the Vedas for the upcoming, Kalpa. So for the sake of, for the sake of protecting cows, for the sake of protecting Brahmanas, for the sake of protecting, Devas, and devotees, the Vedic literatures. So in order to provide, protect this religious principles and the principles to, fulfill the purpose of life, the Lord accepts various form of incarnations. So he took various avatarams. The Lord accepts the form of, incarnations. See, like the air, passing through different forms, different types of atmosphere, the Lord also takes different types of incarnations. Like, human beings, like he has taken Rama Avataram, Krishna Avataram, like as, as like us, and animals, he took the Avataram like, as animals, like, boar, like lion, and even fish. That is the Matsya Avataram. But he is not affected. See, here one has to note the point that, he is not affected by the material nature, by the modes of material nature, by like us, That is why we are called as Jivatma and he is Paramatma. Because he is not affected by any of, he doesn't have any papam or punyam. Papam or punyam doesn't touch him. Only for us, it is the papam or punyam, only for us, we take birth due to this papam and punyam. And you can see that, at the end of the past millennium, that is at the end of Brahma's day is considered as a millennium. That is, you can imagine, that is called a kalpam. That's the end. One kalpam means Brahma's day. That means a millennium. So if Brahma's days is over, then what happens is he started to sleep at night, isn't it? So what happens, this annihilation, that is a destructions took place. That is called a pralayam. That is, Brahma's days is over. Brahma's creation is over. That is what is said as, destruction. So pralayam happened. And all the three worlds means covered by ocean. That is, it was the night time of Brahma. Brahma was sleeping, and all the, three worlds, they are all covered with ocean. That is called the pralayam occurred. And the Vedas, what happened to Vedas is when Brahma was sleeping, the Vedas were, emanating from his mouth. At that time, what happened? The great demon called Hayagriva, he stole all the Vedic knowledge. Knowing this, what happened? The Lord took the form of fish and saved the Vedas by killing the demon, by killing the demon Hayagriva. That is how he, he took Matsya Avatara. See, what happens is because, because everything was inundated, by water to save the Vedas. So it was necessary for the Lord to assume the form of fish. That is, the Lord, it is said the Lord takes avataram of all the living beings, all the living creatures, so as to show that the Lord, the Paramatma lies in all the creatures. So the Lord assumed one fish incarnation to save the Vedas at the beginning, of Swayambhuva Manvantram. That is at the end of, at the end of Chakusa Manvantram. That is, the Lord again assumed the form of a fish just to favor the great and pious king called Satyavratan. See, this is the Matsya Avataram story. It goes like this. That is, in the millennium, this king, this Satyavratan, later becomes the son of Vivaswan. That is the king of sun planet. By the mercy of Lord, he was given the, post of Manu. Manu is a post given. Swayambhuva Manu, Vaivasvata Manu. Like that, Manu is a post given by the Lord. So here, what happens? This Satyavratan, the king, who was very, pious and who was very, very nice and good king, pious king, and he was doing his austerities, like, his kind of anushtanams, by offering, water on the banks of river Kritamala. He was doing sandhi or something like anushtanam. He was doing some anushtanam in the river of, in the banks of river Kritamala. At that time, what happened? He was offering the water into this river. At that time, a small fish appeared, appeared in the water in his palms. So the Satyavratan, the king of this Dravida Desham, what happened? He saw the fish and he threw the fish into the river, along with the water in his palms. But the fish spoke to the king. The fish, the fish, it said, see, don't throw me into the river. Because, give me some protection against all the wild animals. There'll be big animals inside the ocean also. There'll be shark and whale and so many, aquatic bigger animals. So please don't throw me into the ocean again. Give me some protection. So the king was surprised, to hear a fish talk. But he doesn't know at that point, he doesn't know that fish, that particular fish is the Lord himself. He has come. So what happened? He took the fish along with him. He put the fish in a jug, and went into his, palace. Went to his palace along with the jug, with the fish. At that time, what happened? This fish grew to the size of the jug again. So it needs more space. So Satyavratan, what he thought is, he put the fish in a large well. And within a moment, what happened? It grew into the full size of a well. So he took into the lake. Even that was not sufficient. Even that lake was not sufficient. And so what happened? This king Satyavratan, he just put this gigantic fish into the ocean. So the fish, said, this ocean is also not sufficient for me to grow. So now at this point, the king Satyavratan understood that this is not an ordinary fish. This is the Lord himself, but the Lord himself. So he said, I have not seen any big kind of this kind of gigantic aquatic animal like you growing this much big in one day. So you must be the Supreme Lord, you are the Supreme Lord here. And I prostrate, before you. That is, he did namaskaram before the Lord. And the Lord said, Satyavratan, you are a very pious king. You are a very good king. And now, after 7 days, all the 3 worlds, this, Bhulogam, Bhuvanlogam, and Suvanlogam, all the 3 worlds will all merge into the water. Water of inundation, it will all merge. So, when all these 3 worlds merge into the water, after 7 days, what will happen? A large boat will come. A large boat will be sent by me, and it will appear before you. So, thereafter, King Satyavrata, what you have to do is, you have to load, you shall collect all types of herbs and seeds and load them, on this very big boat. And then accompanied by all the Sapta Rishis and Brahmanas and even Rishis and sages, surrounded by all kind of living entities, you shall get aboard that boat. And without the moroseness, you shall easily travel with all your companions on this ocean of inundation. This is called the Pralayam. In the Pralayam, you will travel without any sadness. And you will have all the companions. You take my word and you do whatever I order you to do. Then what will happen is, the Lord is saying everything to Satyavratan. So then what will happen is, then as, the boat is tossed, about by a very powerful winds, then attach this vessel. This vessel means this boat, to my horn. By means of a great, serpent, Vasuki. You can anchor the boat using that. So, what will happen is, I shall be present by your side. And, putting the boat with you and all the rishis in it, you put all the rishis and you put all the living entities in it, and I will protect you in the water. I will anchor the boat. During that powerful wind, I will help you anchor the boat in the water of, devastation. So until the night of, all, the Lord Brahma's slumber means he is sleeping. That is called the Pralayam, isn't it? The whole sleep, the whole night, Lord Brahma sleeps. And until that slumber is over, we have to face this difficulty. We have to face this Pralayam. So I will help you, and you will be what will happen during this period is, with all the winds and with all the waves and with all the oceans, you will feel terrible, isn't it? So, but what will happen is, you will be thoroughly advised and favored by me. And because of your inquiries, you will start inquiring about lot of, spiritual questions, and I will be answering. And everything, by these inquiries about my glories, which are, known as Param Brahma. This Param Brahma will manifest, within your heart. And thus what will happen is, thus you will know everything about me. So, thus said, this fish disappeared. The fish, told everything. The Lord came as a fish and he told everything, and he disappeared. This fish disappeared. thus said, what happened? This Satyavratan began to wait for the time, for the time of which this Lord has, had instructed. Thereafter, what happened? A gigantic clouds came, pouring water everywhere. That's a pralayam has occurred. You can see, you can imagine how all the cyclones and tornadoes and whatever it is, you can imagine. That is called the pralayam. So it's filling the whole earth, and whole thing is being filled with water. It's all pouring water, as the Lord said. And then, as the Lord said, the boat appeared. A boat appeared, and Satyavratan, what happened? He filled the boat with everything as Lord said, and he, accompanied by Brahmanas and Saptarishis, he started meditating upon the Lord. So the Lord appeared as a Matsya Avataram. He took the Matsya Avataram with a horn, and he anchored the boat, as said, with the help of this Vasuki, the serpent. So everyone started meditating to the Lord, So the Lord preached here Matsya Purana and explained him the absolute truth to Satyavratan. So this story, this story concerning the great king Satyavratan and the fish incarnation, Matsya Avataram. The Matsya Avataram is the first avataram of Vishnu. It's a great, transcendental narration. So it is said, this Matsya Avataram, about this Matsya Avataram, anyone who hears it is delivered, from all the reactions of the sinful life, hearing this Matsya Avataram. So he will certainly have all his ambitions fulfilled, and he will, he will undoubtedly return to this God's place. He will be near the God's place always, hearing this Matsya Avataram. So every avataram told here in this Bhagavatam is purely, for punyam. Hearing this itself is a very great punyam. So, and this also shows this Bhagavan, Sakshat Paramatma, is present in all the incarnations, in all the, Chetana, Achetana Vastu. So, Bhagavan, that is Paramatma, is beyond everything, but present in everything. So, nothing, no papam, punyam will, stick to him. He is like a gem. He is like a diamond or anything, any kind of a gem. Na karmana libyate papakena. This Paramatma, is beyond dharmam and adharmam. So, in order to show this, he takes this, he has taken this Matsya Avataram, Matsya Kurma Avataram. He took the tortoise kind of, Avataram. He took Matsya Avataram. So Sukacharya describes all the avatarams to King Parikshit. Within 7 days, he is to leave the world. Parikshit, So within 7 days, he is describing all these avatarams to King Parikshit. And then now Sukacharya, he started to describe Suryavamsha. It's a very great, you have to think about this solar dynasty. It's Suryavamsam. It's a very great punyam, it's a very great punyam to hear all these stories or avatarams of charitrams of all the kings. So Sakshat Surya Bhagavan, from him born Manu, Vaivasvata Manu. That is, it is said from the Supreme Lord, born Brahma, Chaturmukha Brahma, and Brahma, from Brahma, Marichi, and from Marichi, it is Kashyapar, and from Kashyapar, Vaivasvan in Suryan was born, and Vaivasvata Manu. This Manu is the Raja Satyavratan in the previous millennium. He was born as Vaivasvata Manu here. So, at first, what happened? The Manu has no sons. So, therefore, what happened is, in order to get a son for him, because the progeny should go on, he has to rule, he is ruling the kingdom, and next Someone has to rule the kingdom. That is, his progeny has to rule the kingdom. So he wants a son. In those days, for everything, there is mantram, and there is always guru or, acharya to guide us, to bless us. Here, what happens is the whole Suryavamsham, sage Vasishta is the Kula Guru or Acharya for the Vamsam, the whole Vamsam, who was very powerful. He is a very mystic person and he is very powerful in all the spiritual knowledge, and is a Kula Guru for the whole dynasty. So he performed an yajnam to satisfy the, Mitra and Varuna. So what happens is, this yajnam was done to get a son for Manu. But what happened, this Manu's wife, she approached the priest, who was offering that, sacrifices and oblations and everything. She approached the priest, and she told, secretly, to that priest, she offered namaskarams to him and begged them for a daughter. She said that I don't want to get a son. I want a daughter. I always like to have a daughter, not a son. She told the priest, she knows that Manu is, Manu desires to have a son. But she secretly went and said to the priest that she wants a daughter. She told to the priest, please offer oblations. When you offer oblation and pray, you pray to get a, daughter. I like to have a daughter instead of a son. Now what happened? Now the yajnam was going on. This yajnam was all going on and told by the chief priest. Now the chief priest, he says, now offer oblation. Okay. The person in charge, of oblation took the ghee to offer into the yajnam. He then remembered what Manu's, the request of this Manu's wife, he remembered and performed this sacrifice while chanting the word Vasat. Manu had begun the yajnam for the sake of getting a son. But because the priest was, diverted by the request of Manu's wife, a daughter named Ila was born. Upon seeing this daughter, what happened? Manu was not satisfied because, he said that, I know you are all, he asked Vasishta, like, all of you are expert in chanting all the Vedic mantrams. See, how then has the result been opposite, to the one desired? I desired for a son only, but how come it has become a daughter now? There should not be, there should not have been such a reversal of the results of the Vedic mantrams. Your words are like the words of Devas, isn't it? So it never baffled. So then how is it possible? Then how is it possible that your, determinations have failed? So now sage Vasishta, he is the sage. He has got all the mystic power. And he is a great sage. He is all powerful. So he said, the Vedic mantram are so powerful. So it won't change. It doesn't give any bad effect or, opposite result. You ask your wife for the reason. Why you got this daughter, you just go and ask your wife about the reason. So the wife here, she also accepted now. Yeah, she said to Manu that I want a daughter. So I told the priest to, to offer oblations and, to remember that I have to have a daughter. I told the priest like that. Now what happened is the daughter was born. He said to the sage Vasishta, like, this Manu, he said to sage Vasishta, you are a great tapasvi. What cannot be done by you? You please do something. Do please something. Now the sage, because the whole yajnam was done and the whole thing was, done. And at last the result has come like this. He is not satisfied with that also. So what happened is now sage Vasishta said, okay, using my, using my prowess, Using my prowess, I can change this girl into a, the female child. Ila into a male child. So having said what happened, he offered prayers and chant mantrams and everything. And thus this Ila means this the female child, is transferred into a very fine, beautiful male person called Sudyumna. Once what happened, the Sudyumna is a very, is a changed person from a female to a male person. Once this Sudyumna, he was accompanied by few associates and soldiers and all. He was riding on a horse. He went to the forest for hunting, to hunt. And he wore armor and he was all decorated with all the bows and arrows. And he was all he looked very beautiful with all that thing. See, while following he was hunting. He was going for hunting and he was hunting all the animals there in the forest. And while following wild animals and hunting them, he reached the northern part of the, part of the bottom of Mount Meru. And that there is a forest there. And that forest is called Ambikavanam. And that forest is specifically that forest is specifically for Ambikai. Ambikai means Parvati Devi. And this place is especially meant for Lord Shiva and Parvati. And because once what happened, this goddess Parvati, she was taking bath. And, she doesn't want any male person to enter into that Ambikavan. She asked her husband, that is Parameshwaran, to do that, to help her. So Parameshwaran, what he did was, he said that anyone who entered here in this Ambikavanam will change into the female. Here, what happened? This place is specially meant for Lord Shiva and Parvati Devi. So when Sudyumna entered the forest, what happened? He saw himself transformed into a female. Even the horse, of Sudyumna, it transformed into a mare. That is a female horse. And all the soldiers, who have accompanied him, everyone were transformed into female. This is a curse given by Lord Shiva there. So they don't know, what to do. They were all wandering here and there because they all become female and they are all, wandering here and there in the forest. And what happened in Bhagavatam, it is said that upon seeing this beautiful woman loitering, near the ashram, Budhan, Budhan, the son of moon, what happened? He desired to marry her. And she also accepted. Here, this Sudyumna, he has become again a female. Ila became Sudyumna and Sudyumna again became a female. So now she also accepted him as her husband. And thus this Budhan begot into her womb a son named Pururavan. So this is a different story. Now what happened? This Sudyumna, who have become a female now, she doesn't want to be a female anymore. So she remembered now his spiritual guru, that is Vasishta, and he doesn't want to remain as a female. And this spiritual guru, Vasishta, his familial guru, that is Vasishta, sage Vasishta, became very sad because already a female, Ila, has been transformed into a male. And now that male person, that is Sudyumna, again while entering into this Ambikavanam, has transformed into female. But the whole kingdom is without the king now. So he is all very sad. The sage Vasishta became very sad knowing this, his condition and all. So sage Vasishta began to worship Lord Shiva. he wanted something to happen, and he was worshipping Lord Shiva. Masam Pumamsa Bhavitha Masam Stri Tava Gotrajaha. Means Lord Shiva was pleased by sage Vasishta's prayer. And but in order to satisfy him and to keep his own word to Parvati also, isn't it? So Lord Shiva said, Suryavamsha may remain as a male for 1 month and female for, for the next time. So what happened? In this way, he may rule the world. So the Suryavamsha, according to the words of Lord Shiva, regained his maleness, but every alternate month. And in this way, he ruled the kingdom. But this is not good. Being a male in 1 month and female in another month, the hormones changes and everything changes, and it's not good. So the citizens there, they were not satisfied with this kind of, ruling. So Suryavamsha entered the forest, after delivering the kingdom to his son Pururavan. But all this happens, okay, this is all happening, but the whole thing is not satisfying the Vaivasvata Manu. Manu. So Manu, he doesn't like all these things, changing male into female and female into male and all these things. He doesn't like that. So he wanted, he's being desirous to, desirous of sons, worshipped the Lord and, consequently begot 10 sons. Vaivasvata Manu. That is, sons like Ishvahu, Nrigan, Sharyati, Tishtan, Drishtan, Karushagan, Narishyantan, Brishadran, and Nabagan and Kavi. Those are 10 sons of Vaivasvata Manu. So Manu performed, severe austerities, on the banks of river Yamuna for 100 years, and got all the, all these 10 sons. This here, Ishvahu was the eldest son. So I think we will start the Ishvahu's, Charitram in the next session. We will close this session with this Matsya Avataram and, start of Suryavamsha, so that we can, all the 10 sons Charitram is going to come. Ishvahu's Charitram. In the Ishvahu Vamsam only, Lord Narayana, Mahavishnu has become, Rama Avataram took place only in the Ishvahu Vamsam. So we'll see in the next session. And till then, we will say Purnamadam, and we'll conclude this session today with Purnamadam. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.